As part 3 concludes, Cheng Yao and Qian Heng's relationship reaches a boiling point, with feelings of uncertainty, misunderstandings, and a humorous yet touching confession from Qian Heng. As they stand on the edge of defining their future together, will their love finally find stability, or will more obstacles arise? The next morning, Cheng Yao noticed that Qian Heng had woken up very early and was trying to make her breakfast. Although it didn't turn out well, she thought his effort deserved some encouragement. When she got ready, she found the table set for breakfast, which made her happy. He had prepared only one simple dish, spring noodles shaped like caterpillars. Cheng Yao didn't feel like eating them. While she picked other foods, Qian Heng insisted she try the noodles, saying he made them himself. Reluctantly, she took a bite and gave him a forced smile of praise, which pleased him. But when Qian Heng tasted the noodles himself, he realized they were not good. Meanwhile, Wu Jun met with lawyer Yi Ran to discuss the possibility of her joining their firm, Junhong Law Firm. He told her it would be an honor if she considered the offer. Yi Ran replied that she was happy at her current law firm, but would think about it, given Wu Jun's insistence. Later, during a meeting, Qian Heng announced that Cheng Yao had done an exceptional job and that they were making her a permanent employee. He seemed happier than Cheng Yao was after finishing her probation. Cheng Yao felt thrilled about her job confirmation and believed her relationship with Qian Heng was getting stronger. Later that day, she met with Tan Ying, but her mind was mostly on her growing relationship with Qian Heng instead of Tan Ying's conversation. She found it hard to focus and often got distracted. Afterward, she visited a spa because she had recently become interested in skincare. Tan Ying pointed out that even though Cheng Yao and Qian Heng had been together for a while, their relationship hadn't progressed much. She noticed Cheng Yao's shyness and innocence and offered advice on how to win Qian Heng's heart. Just then, Qian Heng called Cheng Yao. Tan Ying left, encouraging Cheng Yao to go meet him and refusing to get involved in their relationship. After the spa visit, Tan Ying went shopping with her boyfriend, and they enjoyed their time together. Meanwhile, Qian Heng and Cheng Yao returned from their shopping trip and headed to their rooms to pack for the upcoming team-building event. Qian Heng had organized the outing and reserved a luxury deluxe room for the first person to arrive at the destination. He had found a shortcut and planned for himself and Cheng Yao to be the first to get there. At the same time, Cheng Yao was packing her things and had bought a nightgown that made her feel dreamy. She quickly hid it when Qian Heng entered her room to talk. He spotted the nightgown and excitedly said he wanted to see her in it right away. Cheng Yao brushed him off, and the scene shifted to the next day. When they arrived at the hill station, the office was buzzing with excitement. An announcement was made. Everyone had to walk to the hotel, and the first person to arrive would get the deluxe room, while the last one would have to sleep in a tent. Qian Heng told Cheng Yao to stay with him, so they could secure the deluxe room together. However, Cheng Yao's friends refused to let her go alone. To distract them, Qian Heng invented a reason to talk privately with Cheng Yao and sent the others ahead. As they talked, Qian Heng took Cheng Yao's hand and led her through a shortcut. They came upon a wishing tree, where Cheng Yao made a wish while Qian Heng looked at her with affection. Suddenly, it started to rain, creating a romantic atmosphere. Qian Heng used his coat to shield Cheng Yao from the rain and hurried to find shelter. They discovered a beautiful spot and enjoyed the scenery together. When they faced a muddy path, Qian Heng carried Cheng Yao on his back. By the time they reached the hotel, the rain had delayed everyone else, and the staff was already there. The final announcement revealed that Bao Rui would get the deluxe room, while Qian Heng and Cheng Yao, who arrived later, would have to sleep in the tent. Qian Heng felt happy, knowing he would be in the tent as long as Cheng Yao was with him. Meanwhile, Bao Rui worried about being alone in the spacious room and wanted to invite friends over. Even though he could invite others, Yu and Tan both declined. Bao Rui then asked Cheng Yao for help to save his dignity, fearing others would tease him for being alone. Qian Heng gave her a stern look, but Cheng Yao decided to help Bao Rui and agreed to stay with him as a friend. Afterward, she went to guide Qian Heng to his tent. They exchanged glances, and just as they were about to kiss, they were interrupted again. During dinner, everyone gathered together. Tan had saved a seat for Cheng Yao, preventing her from sitting next to Qian Heng. Wu Jun arrived with Cheng Shi and introduced her to everyone. Cheng Shi's former success as a prominent lawyer had faded due to personal issues. Woo Jun encouraged everyone to persuade Chung Shi to join Junhong law firm, and the colleagues began to convince her. Chung Shi said she would think about it. Later, the group went out for a night adventure. Tan stayed close to Chung Yao, limiting her chances to spend time with Qian Heng. However, whenever Chung Yao approached a stall, Qian Heng seemed to understand her wishes. He declared that the boss would cover the cost of anything bought from that stall, allowing Chung Yao to get several items for her colleagues. Eventually, Qian Heng and Chung Yao found a moment alone at a stall while the others moved ahead. Chung Yao was surprised, and Qian Heng remarked that he could read her preferences just by looking at her face. He wanted to spend time with her, but Bao Rui showed up, interrupting their moment. This made Chung Yao leave to rejoin the others, who were sitting and drinking. Meanwhile, Chung Shi felt upset, reflecting on her past successes and feeling uncertain about her future. Woo Jun tried to comfort her, saying she had always been a star in his eyes and still was. His words encouraged Chung Shi. Later, Chung Yao joined her friends for a game of truth or dare, which led her to drink quite a bit. When she tried to use the bathroom, she got confused and ended up outside. Qian Heng called her and quickly realized she was drunk. He reached out to Bao Rui, who found out that Chung Yao had left and no one knew where she was. Worried about her safety, they started searching for her. Eventually, they discovered Chung Yao sitting among some flowers. When Qian Heng arrived, she hugged him tightly and kept saying she loved him. At first, he hesitated, but then he admitted that he felt the same way in front of everyone. Qian Heng asked everyone to close their eyes and turn around, which they did, allowing him to take Chung Yao to her room. He helped her to bed and promised to see her the next day, saying he would wait for her. After that, he returned to his tent. Just as he was about to sleep, Chung Yao came into his tent and asked for a kiss. They kissed, and she fell asleep next to him. Qian Heng felt happy to have his girlfriend with him. The next morning, Chung Yao woke up startled, confused about how she ended up in the tent. Qian Heng surprised her with flowers. She asked what had happened the night before. He downplayed it, saying she might have imagined things, joking that the only notable event was her pulling his quilt away. He then walked her back to her room. Bao Rui saw them and quickly looked away, pretending he hadn't seen anything. Woo Jun approached from behind, worried he might find out Qian Heng's secret. Qian Heng quickly made up an excuse, saying he had called the boss to discuss hiring Chung Shi. Woo Jun grabbed Bao Rui and took him away. The scene shifted to the office, where everyone had returned. Chung Yao couldn't remember revealing her secret while drunk, and her colleagues looked at her suspiciously. She no longer seemed like just a regular co-worker. Now, she appeared to be their superior. They pulled her aside and said they knew her secret. Bao Rui exaggerated, saying that before Chung Yao, Qian Heng had dismissed 13 assistants, yet she had easily caught his attention. Qian Heng overheard and warned Bao Rui that if he caused any more trouble, he might lose his job too. He then told Chung Yao he was busy that evening meeting his father and wouldn't be able to see her. During lunch, Chung Yao sat with her friends, joined by Qian Heng. Knowing his secret made things awkward since having lunch with the boss was unusual for them. As Yu and Tan were about to reveal their own secrets, Qian Heng interrupted, saying he already knew about their relationship. He mentioned that he figured it out the day they were caught pretending in the elevator. Bao Rui criticized Qian Heng for being naive, suggesting that a lawyer should always be alert. Shocked by the revelation, Bao Rui realized his 3 friends had formed relationships without him knowing. Later, Chung Yao received a call from her father. He told her he had run into an old schoolmate who used to bully him in class. He had arranged a lunch meeting with his former classmate and his son, wanting to show off Chung Yao's skills as a lawyer. He instructed her to wear high heels and her most expensive dress to make a good impression. Determined to succeed, Chung Yao prepared for the meeting. When she arrived at the restaurant, she noticed that Qian Heng was there too. When he asked her about it, she explained that she had borrowed clothes from Shay because her father wanted her to impress his friend. As they entered the restaurant, they heard their fathers arguing in the same room. When they went further in, they realized their families already knew each other. Chung Yao's father was an old classmate of Qian Heng's father. Chung Yao's father started scolding her for bringing her boyfriend along and questioned whether their relationship was over. Meanwhile, Qian Heng's father insisted that his son was a successful lawyer and not poor at all. The argument escalated, and Qian Heng had to work hard to calm everyone down. Despite his efforts, their mothers continued to dominate the conversation. Qian Heng's mother stepped forward dramatically and announced that if Cheng Yao was her son's girlfriend, she would give her a family heirloom bracelet. She handed it to Cheng Yao right away. In response, Cheng Yao's mother removed her own heirloom bracelet and placed it on Qian Heng, saying it was now his. This gesture eventually calmed the fathers, although their disagreements soon flared up again, with each insisting that the other had started the relationship. After much back and forth, the situation settled down enough for Qian Heng to have an official meeting with Cheng Yao's future in-laws. After this successful encounter, Qian Heng felt happy and invited Cheng Yao to a special place, a quiet spot where they could be alone. He led her to a bookstore, where the owner, who knew Qian Heng well, greeted Cheng Yao as his girlfriend, noting that he had never seen Qian Heng with anyone else there before. They listened to music and enjoyed each other's company. Meanwhile, Wu Jun felt a wave of nervousness. He called Qian Heng, surprised and worried about Cheng Yao wanting to meet his parents so soon. He wasn't sure how to approach the meeting and what to say. Even though Wu Jun was the school principal and Qian Heng was like a kindergarten student in his eyes, he decided to ask Qian Heng for advice. He went to visit Qian Heng at his apartment, as he had been invited. When Wu Jun arrived, he was amazed by how spacious the flat was. He noticed feminine touches around, like pictures of Chun Shi and Cheng Yao, which surprised him. Wu Jun joked that the picture of Chun Shi was there just to make him jealous. At that moment, Cheng Yao walked out of the room, giving Wu Jun the answers he had been looking for. Shocked by seeing her, Wu Jun approached Cheng Shi and expressed his disbelief that Qian Heng, whom he had underestimated, had beaten him to meeting the parents. He admitted that he had never faced such a significant loss before and began asking Cheng Shi how he could win over her parents' hearts. The next day, as Cheng Yao walked to the office, she ran into lawyer Ran, who was starting at their firm that day. Right away, Cheng Yao was impressed by Ran's strong personality. During the meeting that followed, Ran entered with Qian Heng, who introduced her as the first female partner of their law firm. The whole team warmly welcomed Ran, and she made a great impression on everyone. Ran had even published a weekly journal for Junheng Law Firm, featuring a photo of herself with Qian Heng on the cover. They looked good together, and many of the staff noticed how well they matched. Cheng Yao soon learned that Ran and Qian Heng had both gone to the same law school and had been in the same karate club. Ran easily mingled with everyone, receiving warm introductions from her new colleagues. Cheng Yao admired Ran and hoped to reach her level of professionalism within 5 to 10 years. Just then, Qian Heng entered and took all the magazines, saying he didn't like having his picture taken and preferred that only Ran's photo stay. He mentioned that he had never displayed his picture at the firm. Although Ran felt disappointed, she chose not to say anything. Afterward, Ran visited Qian Heng in his office and gave him a gift along with some memories from their university days. However, Qian Heng barely paid attention to her, possibly sensing that Ran was becoming too friendly and might have feelings for him. As he left, he thanked her for the gifts and promised to host a proper dinner to celebrate her joining the firm. But he had to go to a meeting first. Meanwhile, Ran looked at a photo of Qian Heng, reminiscing about their time in college. She had always liked him. Being a year younger, she joined the karate club just to be closer to him, cherishing the moment when he praised her skills. On the other hand, Qian Heng was worried about Cheng Yao. He approached her to talk about the photo, unsure if she felt upset about seeing it with Ran. Cheng Yao reassured him that she liked lawyer Ran and felt no jealousy. However, their colleagues were uneasy because those who didn't know about Cheng Yao and Qian Heng's relationship thought Qian Heng and Ran were a perfect match. Bao Rui tried to comfort Cheng Yao by suggesting they all go out for dinner together. The four friends went out to enjoy hot pot. Bao Rui dominated the conversation, praising lawyer Ran. Noticing that Cheng Yao was quiet, he and the others reassured her that Ran was just a partner and that Qian Heng's feelings were only for her. Tan even joked about the time Cheng Yao was seen kissing Qian Heng. Just then, Qian Heng arrived unexpectedly, and the three friends quickly scattered. Qian Heng sat down with Cheng Yao and explained that he hadn't eaten all day and needed porridge to avoid feeling weak. He took Cheng Yao with him, leaving the others to finish their meal. Cheng Yao prepared porridge for him with her own hands, but then announced that she needed to get back to work, saying it was important to focus. After meeting lawyer Ran that day, she had set new goals for herself. Qianheng tried to reassure her, telling her not to feel jealous of Ran and that his heart was only for her. He expressed concern that she might be upset about the photo with him in the magazine. Despite his reassurances after making the porridge, Cheng Yao went inside to study, while Qianheng accidentally burned his mouth because the porridge was too hot. In the next scene, Ran dressed elegantly and went out for dinner, hoping that Qianheng would keep his promise to treat her as a welcome gesture to the company. However, when she arrived, she found Wu Jun waiting instead. Seeing him immediately put her in a bad mood, but she managed to smile politely. Wu Jun welcomed her to the law firm, but Ran couldn't help feeling that all she had were memories of Qianheng. The following morning, Ran visited Qianheng's office, trying to find reasons to talk to him, but he was busy and had little time to spare. She then went to the printer to finish some work. While she was there, Cheng Yao offered to help by scanning some documents for her. As Ran chatted with Cheng Yao, she noticed Cheng Yao's laptop nearby, open to a WhatsApp chat. She saw messages from Qianheng telling Cheng Yao to make time for her boyfriend. This made Ran suspicious that Cheng Yao and Qianheng were in a relationship. Later, Ran went to her office and thought about what she had seen. She checked the law firm's website and found photos from their recent trip. In some of the pictures, she noticed that Qianheng looked at Cheng Yao with interest, confirming her suspicion that they were dating. To put her plan into action, Ran decided to use a trick. When she went to make coffee, she bumped into a girl known for gossiping in the office. Ran started a conversation and mentioned that the boss lady was not around. The girl seemed surprised. Ran then suggested that Qianheng's girlfriend was Cheng Yao and hinted that he might have hired her to keep her close at the firm. The girl was shocked, and as Ran left, she told her not to tell anyone. Despite this request, the gossip quickly spread throughout the company. The next day, when Cheng Yao arrived at the office, rumors were flying. Even Tan was surprised, wondering how everyone found out. The gossip had grown to the point where people were saying Qianheng's sister, Chen Shi, was also interested in Wu Jun, making it seem like both girls were trying to control their boss. At one point, when Cheng Yao went to get some water, a girl criticized her, accusing her of using her relationship with Qianheng to get ahead in the office. However, Ran stepped in, defending Cheng Yao. She expressed her confidence in Wu Jun and insisted that everyone in the office earned their place based on merit. She made it clear that Cheng Yao deserved her success. After standing up for Cheng Yao, Ran called her into her office. She expressed satisfaction with the relationship between Cheng Yao and Qianheng and asked how their romance had developed. Ran wanted to know the details, but Cheng Yao avoided revealing much about their relationship. Ran then offered Cheng Yao a chance to move to her team, explaining that the gossip might make things uncomfortable for her if she stayed with Qianheng. Instead of going home right away, Cheng Yao approached Chen Shi to share her worries about the rumors surrounding her relationship with Qianheng and her uncertainty about who had leaked the information. Chen Shi listened and offered her support, assuring her that she wouldn't leave her job because of the gossip. Cheng Yao mentioned that she was seriously thinking about transferring to Ran's team. Meanwhile, Qianheng was on a business trip in another city with Bao Rue. After working late into the night, Bao Rue informed Qianheng that the entire office was buzzing with the news of his relationship with Cheng Yao. He assured Qianheng that none of their close friends had revealed the secret. In response, Qianheng asked for his return ticket to be booked for the next day. The next morning, as Cheng Yao entered the office without telling Bao Rue about her relationship with Qianheng, he approached her with a warm smile. He took her hand and stood in front of everyone, proudly announcing that Cheng Yao was his girlfriend. He clarified to those who had been gossiping that it was he who had pursued her, not the other way around. Qianheng asked everyone not to spread false rumors about her and assured them that Cheng Yao would be treated like any other employee, without any special benefits due to their relationship. She would earn promotions based on her hard work, just like her colleagues. Tan noticed that Ran looked unhappy about this announcement, which made him suspicious. Later, Qianheng spoke to Ran, telling her that he had heard Cheng Yao might join her team. He praised Cheng Yao as a hardworking and capable person and asked Ran to take care of her. Although Cheng Yao's friends were sad about her transfer, she started working with Ran's team. However, Ran introduced Cheng Yao to the other lawyers in a way that made it clear she was now Qianheng's girlfriend. As a result, Cheng Yao found herself with little to do. She tried to make friends with her new colleagues and help with their work, but her efforts failed. They treated her as if she were their boss, keeping their distance and refusing to engage with her. This made Cheng Yao feel upset and lonely. She spent half of her day with nothing to do before finally asking Iran for meaningful tasks, expressing her frustration that her colleagues didn't want her help. Instead of giving her real work, Iran assigned her small tasks like delivering files, buying books, and fetching coffee. When Cheng Yao wanted to buy a gift for their anniversary, Iran suggested that the gift might not suit Qianheng's personality. She shared stories from their university days, trying to show that she knew Qianheng well. Iran implied that Qianheng's interest in Cheng Yao was only because she was young, suggesting that he didn't share his personal feelings with younger girlfriends. Later, Iran called Cheng Yao to her office and gave her a big English file to study. However, she framed the task in such a confusing way that Cheng Yao thought she had to translate it. Poor Cheng Yao spent the whole day translating. Even her friends came to visit during lunch, and Qianheng stopped by to check on her because she looked tired. But Iran, feeling jealous, quickly called Cheng Yao back. When Cheng Yao finally presented her translated work to Iran, she was met with frustration. Iran pointed out that she already had the translation and had meant for Cheng Yao to study it, not translate it. Despite Iran's harshness, Cheng Yao didn't realize that she was being manipulated. Iran then assigned Cheng Yao to attend a conference for the company to gather information, which upset Cheng Yao since she had planned to celebrate their 100-day anniversary with Qianheng that day. Meanwhile, Qianheng became worried when he noticed that Cheng Yao had left for work and hadn't returned. After a long day at the conference, Cheng Yao finally headed home late. On her way, she ran into lawyer Li, who wanted to discuss work, but she was in a hurry and left quickly. When she got home, she looked for Qianheng but found his room empty. Feeling distressed, she thought he must have left for his flight and would miss their anniversary celebration. Just then, Qianheng arrived with a cake, explaining that he had delayed his flight to keep his promise and celebrate with her. Feeling deeply touched, Cheng Yao was overwhelmed with emotion when Qianheng gave her matching couple necklaces, the exact one she had been thinking about. Realizing he had misunderstood her feelings before, Qianheng embraced her and leaned in for a kiss. Shy and flustered, Cheng Yao quickly retreated to her room. A little while later, Qianheng noticed that she had moved her pillow from her room to his, which filled him with happiness, prompting him to go into her room. The next morning, Cheng Yao woke up to find herself in Qianheng's bed, but he was not there. Next to her was a pillow shaped like Qianheng, and he had left a note explaining that this was the best gift he could give her. He told her to take care of herself while he was away, as he had already left for an early flight. Qianheng had also called Iran, asking her to look after Cheng Yao, not just because she was his girlfriend, but because he recognized her hard work and dedication. He praised her as a talented lawyer deserving of success. Feeling a bit jealous, Iran asked Qianheng to bring her a special lipstick that was only available overseas. At the same time, she wanted to withdraw from a complex project and pass it to a senior colleague. When Iran saw Cheng Yao enter the office, having performed exceptionally well on her tasks and receiving high praise from Qianheng, she thought this might be a good opportunity to undermine her. Iran assigned Cheng Yao a new case, telling her it would be easy and that she would help if needed. Another lawyer expressed concern, but Iran dismissed it, believing that Cheng Yao was intelligent and could handle it. Later, Cheng Yao went to meet with the client related to the case. The client, an older woman, seemed very complicated and overly critical, evaluating every small detail. After a challenging meeting, when Cheng Yao returned to the office, Tan approached her, pretending to bring tea and cake. Tan said she had some free time and offered her help. Cheng Yao replied that she knew Qianheng had asked Tan to assist her while he was gone, but she felt capable of managing the case on her own. Meanwhile, overseas, Qianheng attended a meeting. Once it was over, he asked where the nearest beach was and quickly headed there. From the beach, he called Cheng Yao and shared his dream of going to the beach with her. He admired the scenery and suggested they should plan a vacation to a beautiful place with a nice beach soon. Cheng Yao completed her paperwork and submitted it to Iran. Impressed by her work, Iran searched for mistakes, but found none, smiling and praising her. After Cheng Yao left, Iran spoke to another lawyer, suggesting they look for errors in the work. However, the lawyer praised Chung Yao, explaining that after reviewing the documents twice, they understood why Qian Heng held her in such high regard. Ran's frustration showed on her face, realizing her attempts to undermine Chung Yao had failed. That evening, the office was empty, and Chung Yao had already left when Ran returned, looking very angry. She questioned what made Qian Heng value Chung Yao, an ordinary girl, so much. Then, Ran went to Chung Yao's drawer and found some files, which she began to tamper with. The next day, Chung Yao was very worried. Tan was searching the entire office for the important document she had prepared for court, but couldn't find anything. To make things worse, an angry client started yelling, accusing Chung Yao of being an ineffective lawyer who relied only on her looks. The client was so loud that Chung Yao had to calm her down, promising to fully compensate for her losses, even writing it down to assure her. When the court case began, the same woman caused a lot of trouble, worried she wouldn't get full compensation after her divorce. The noise made other lawyers question how Chung Yao was handling such a difficult client. Even though she was missing some documents, Chung Yao managed to calm the woman down and move forward with the case. Her good handling impressed the other lawyers, including Lawyer Li. After the court session, Lawyer Li, who had been a classmate, congratulated Chung Yao on her success and invited her to join his law firm, giving her his business card. Back at the office, Tan praised Chung Yao for how she handled the case and suggested they celebrate with a party. However, Chung Yao's happiness was short-lived. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside. The same woman had come to their law firm with rotten eggs and tomatoes, causing chaos. As Chung Yao tried to calm her down, the woman accused her of losing important receipts and causing mental distress, questioning the high fees she had paid. Despite Chung Yao's efforts to soothe her, the woman threw an egg and demanded to speak to the boss. She insulted Chung Yao and criticized the law firm's reputation. Ran stepped in, trying to be supportive. She acknowledged the loss of the original receipts, but pointed out that the woman had still won the case. Ran promised the woman compensation for her fees, saying that Chung Yao was part of her team. This made the woman feel better, and Ran defended Chung Yao, highlighting her youth and her relationship with Qian Heng, which silenced further criticism. The situation publicly embarrassed Chung Yao and undermined her hard work. After the woman left, Ran approached Chung Yao, offering to help her clean up while delivering a motivational message about female empowerment and independence. At that moment, Wu Jun arrived. Seeing Chung Yao upset, he told everyone else to leave and covered her with his coat. Gossip quickly spread that not only did Chung Yao have Qian Heng's support, but she had also won Wu Jun's favor. Ran watched this unfold with a satisfied smile, feeling like she had achieved her goal. Later, Wu Jun visited Ran's office and told her that an inquiry would be necessary to address the issue. He insisted that she explain the situation to the board of directors, making it clear that, as a partner, the responsibility was hers, not a subordinate's. His tone indicated some tension between him and Ran. Meanwhile, Chung Yao went to Wu Jun's office to apologize and announced her decision to resign, saying she couldn't stay at the firm any longer. Wu Jun tried to convince her to change her mind, downplaying the situation and urging her not to overreact. However, Chung Yao stood firm, expressing her intention to resign and take responsibility for her actions. Afterward, Chung Yao reached out to Qian Heng, who was on a business trip abroad. She hesitated, wondering if she should disturb him. Noticing how happy he seemed, she decided not to share her personal problems so she wouldn't disrupt his trip. Meanwhile, Qian Heng returned from Zurich. While shopping with Bao Rui, he picked out a series of gifts for Chung Yao, showing that he had been thinking about her during his time away. In contrast, Wu Jun was very worried. He told Chun Shi that if Qian Heng found out about Chung Yao's resignation, he would blame Wu Jun for it. Chun Shi replied that Chung Yao was not immature and had made her decision carefully. The next day, Chung Yao was seen packing her things in the office. She reflected on the many memories connected to her job, including falling in love and gaining valuable experience. She remembered how Qian Heng had both scolded and cared for her. With a heavy heart, she finished packing and left the office. When Qian Heng returned, he found Chung Yao's desk completely empty, with no personal items left. Tan, avoiding eye contact, stepped aside to tell him over the phone that Chung Yao had left the office and resigned. Qianheng felt deeply saddened to learn that Chun Yao was applying for jobs at other companies, likely targeting Mr. Li's firm. When Chun Yao arrived home, she found that Qianheng had prepared dinner for her again. He said he wasn't upset and respected her decision to leave the office, understanding the stress she had faced. However, his words were meant to comfort her. Later, he called Wu Jun to meet him in the boxing ring, wanting to discuss recent events. Wu Jun was scared, worried that he would be hurt, and his fears were not unfounded. Qianheng confronted Wu Jun angrily, and Wu Jun tried to explain the situation. Wu Jun told Qianheng that he had done everything he could to stop Chun Yao from resigning, but he admitted that she was not someone he could force to stay. She had made her own choice. He explained the entire situation thoroughly. After that, Qianheng went directly to Iran, informing her that he had reviewed the CCTV footage from that night. The footage clearly showed she was the only person in the office at that time. He presented this evidence to her, suggesting that it was part of her plan to push Chun Yao out of the company. Iran had nothing left to hide. She confessed that she had liked Qianheng since their university days. When he did not return her feelings, she joined the same company to be closer to him. But Qianheng was only focused on Chun Yao, which led Iran to take actions to exclude Chun Yao. This infuriated Qianheng, who blamed Iran completely, insisting that he had no feelings for her and that Chun Yao was innocent. During their intense argument, Wu Jun arrived and managed to calm things down, convincing Qianheng to leave. Meanwhile, Chun Yao felt very upset. Qianheng told her that he had found out Iran was responsible for the problems, as she had taken important documents. He urged Chun Yao to return to the office, assuring her that her innocence had been proven. However, Chun Yao felt it would be useless to go back. She believed her reputation was ruined and that she couldn't work in such a hostile environment. At the same time, Wu Jun arranged a secret meeting with Iran outside. He showed her a photograph of the three of them from their university days and reminded her of the strong friendship they once had. Wu Jun explained that Iran's actions had damaged their relationships, but suggested that if she apologized to Chun Yao, they might be able to fix things. He believed that a sincere apology could help restore their friendship and bring everything back to normal. Realizing that her actions had only caused problems, Iran quickly contacted Chun Yao to set up a meeting. During their conversation, she admitted that she had tampered with Chun Yao's documents, conspired against her, and tried to ruin her reputation at the office. Feeling ashamed, Iran asked for Chun Yao's forgiveness. Chun Yao listened to her confession and chose to forgive her, but she made it clear that she would not return to the office. When Chun Yao got home, she found Qianheng waiting for her. Despite having a leg injury, he was there for her. He told her he wasn't upset about her decision to leave the office and respected her choice to seek peace. He acknowledged the stress she had been under, but Chun Yao remained firm in her decision not to go back. Later, she applied for a job at a new company and went to the same building for an interview. As she said goodbye to Qianheng, who was heading to his floor, he felt sad. When he arrived at the office that day, he didn't respond to anyone's greetings, and everyone noticed how down he was. On her first day at her new job, Chun Yao received a warm welcome from her new colleagues at Mr. Li's company. They held a welcome party for her, and during lunch, they talked about the Junhang law firm, mentioning that it was smaller and still building its reputation. Suddenly, Qianheng appeared behind them, surprising the group. Chun Yao tried to downplay his presence by calling him her ex-boss, but Qianheng clarified that he was actually her boyfriend. This revelation made things awkward among Chun Yao's new colleagues, especially since Qianheng was known for owning the largest law firm, Junhang. In a private conversation, Chun Yao expressed her frustration to Qianheng. She insisted that she didn't want to use his name to get ahead and wanted to be recognized for her own work. She convinced him to step back, telling her new colleagues that she preferred not to let her relationship with Qianheng intimidate anyone. She emphasized her role as a junior lawyer eager to learn and work with them. The next day, Qianheng visited the office, intending to scare Chun Yao's new boss to protect her. However, Chun Yao caught him and firmly told him to stop. This pattern continued over the following days, with Qianheng often visiting his office while Chun Yao focused on hers. Despite their efforts to keep their distance, Qianheng remained watchful, checking Chun Yao's WhatsApp status during her outings with colleagues and quietly observing their interactions. One day, Qianheng's mother visited Chun Yao. She was worried about possible conflicts or a breakup if Chun Yao decided to leave her job. She expressed her deep affection for Chun Yao and encouraged her to reconcile with Chien Hung, hoping to welcome her as a daughter-in-law. Meanwhile, Chien Hung missed Chun Yao terribly and often thought about her, feeling lonely without her. Chun Yao, on the other hand, was busy with her new job and focused on her career, which left her with little time for Chien Hung. Recognizing that their relationship was strained, Chien Hung invited her to a party. At the event, Chun Yao said she wanted some distance, explaining that she didn't want to be seen only as Chien Hung's girlfriend among the lawyers. She felt that his popularity was more of a hindrance than a help to her career, as it made others wary of her. That day, Chun Yao had a disagreement with Chien Hung about his habit of publicly calling her his girlfriend. She wanted to establish her own identity because she felt that no one knew her name. They only saw her as Chien Hung's girlfriend. This weighed heavily on her, and Chien Hung became frustrated, often taking his irritation out on his colleagues and Wu Jun due to Chien Hung's moodiness and their reduced interactions. Rumors began to spread that Chun Yao and Chien Hung had ended their relationship. In reality, nothing had changed. They were just seeing each other less often. Meanwhile, Chun Yao took on a complex new case at her office. She met with a client whose husband had recently passed away, leading to a dispute between the wife and the mother-in-law. The wife claimed her rightful share of the company, while the mother-in-law was mainly concerned about money. One day, while at a music store, Chun Yao listened to songs she and Chien Hung used to enjoy. Coincidentally, Chien Hung arrived at the same time, but by the time he got there, Chun Yao had already left. Tension built between them when Chien Hung found out about the case Chun Yao was working on. He was surprised that she was the lawyer handling it and expressed his concerns. Chun Yao urged him to be professional, which only deepened the rift between them. She considered transferring the case to someone else, but then learned that her client had attempted to take her own life. Visiting her client, Chun Yao realized how deeply invested the woman was in her case and decided to take it more seriously. Meanwhile, Wu Jun and Chun Shi were doing well in their careers. Chun Shi had joined Wu Jun's firm, and he had set up a comfortable office for her. When she arrived, she noticed that Chien Hung seemed very angry, making the employees uneasy. Chun Shi decided to confront him and asked him to take care of her dog for a few days while she worked. She also advised him to open up to Chun Yao about his feelings, saying that keeping his emotions hidden would only make things worse. Eventually, Chien Hung met with Chun Yao to discuss the case. She explained the seriousness of her client's situation and her commitment to the case, insisting that no one else would work as hard as she would. After listening to her, Chien Hung went home, spent time with his dog, and thought deeply about everything. He posted a photo of himself with the dog online, which made Chun Yao smile. In reality, Chien Hung had not intended to oppose Chun Yao's case. He visited the hospital and arranged a meeting between his mother-in-law and his wife, explaining that both sides had misunderstandings and needed to talk. This approach helped resolve the case without going to court, marking a significant success for Chien Hung. He felt that if they could reconcile, he and Chun Yao could also mend their relationship. Chien Hung then convinced Chun Yao to reconcile. They held hands and walked together. When Chun Yao twisted her ankle, Chien Hung offered to carry her to a place where a fountain show was happening, a spot filled with beautiful memories for them. There, Chien Hung took her hand and told her he wanted to marry her, thinking about how to discuss it with their parents. Chun Yao blushed at this and said she had to leave for work, leaving Chien Hung feeling sad. The next day, Wu Jun learned that Chien Hung and Chun Yao had made up and were no longer opposing each other's cases. He suggested throwing a party. Chien Hung, Chun Yao, and some friends got together for a meal. Chien Hung wanted to spend some alone time with Chun Yao, but no one was willing to leave early. Feeling frustrated, he ended up eating spicy noodles instead. When he returned home, another issue arose. Chun Shi's dog had swallowed something harmful. Chien Hung had to rush the dog to the emergency room. His mother learned about the situation, and although the dog was fine, she noted how much her son had changed. He used to be scared of dogs, but now he cared for them well, all thanks to Chun Yao. Instead of going home, Chien Hung went directly to Chun Yao's apartment, saying he needed her help because he was exhausted. When he arrived, Chun Yao noticed not only that Chien Hung's hand was hurt, but also that he had a fever. She took care of both him and the dog, urging him to go to the hospital. However, Qianheng refused, saying he only wanted to eat the porridge she had made. After eating, he hugged her, showing how much he loved her and how her care always made him feel better. The next morning, Wu Jun and Qianheng met outside a dessert shop, both waiting in line to buy sweets for their girlfriends. Afterward, Qianheng went straight to Chen Yao's office, bringing desserts for her colleagues. This was his excuse to have a private chat with her. Meanwhile, Deng Ming was struggling with his clients and facing problems from recent scams linked to him, including a case that Chen Yao had won against him. He believed that Chen Yao and her boyfriend were behind his troubles and planned to take action against them. The following day, the law firm faced chaos as negative rumors spread on social media. People accused them of valuing money over integrity, lacking experience, and unfairly advancing their careers. These issues were part of Deng Ming's scheme. Chen Yao became angry, especially when Deng Ming appeared on a show to insult Qianheng and his firm. Ran encouraged Qianheng to confront Deng Ming on the show, but she doubted he would. Wu Jun visited the media house and talked to the show's producer, who mentioned they wanted Qianheng to be on the show. Eventually, Qianheng agreed to participate, much to Chen Yao's delight. She offered to do his makeup for the show. When the trailer came out, Wu Jun and their colleagues reacted positively, believing that Qianheng's appearance would help clear their firm's name and attract more clients. On the day of the show, Qianheng confronted Deng Ming in front of their friends. They were evaluated on how they handled a case involving a husband and wife during the live broadcast. Qianheng showed that he had better legal knowledge than Deng Ming. The situation escalated when she publicly decided to stand against Deng Ming. She shared video evidence and CCTV footage from her apartment, exposing Deng Ming's bad behavior and his harsh views on divorced women. This revelation destroyed Deng Ming's reputation. Having distanced herself from Deng Ming, Shi now sought justice for herself. Qianheng addressed the media, saying he felt pushed into the spotlight and shared how his views on life, marriage, and divorce had changed because of Chen Yao. Meanwhile, Wu Jun and Shi celebrated Deng Ming's downfall. Seeing their joy, Qianheng seized the moment to propose to Chen Yao, who happily accepted. They shared a kiss, committing to their future together. And that brings us to the happy ending of this story. So the moral of the story is, if you want to win a deluxe room, just take the scenic route, get distracted by love, and end up in a tent. But hey, at least you're not alone.